What's going on, everybody? Gunner here. Want to give you guys a quick update for what I have planned for the 2023 summer. Long story short, pretty epic casting videos. I'm going to call it the Fly Casting Challenge of 2023 and fly rod reviews. Let's dive in and check this out. So some of you guys know that we had a baby in January, which is our second, and my hands are very full. So I reckon this is not going to be the year where Gunner goes fishing a lot. That's just the reality of it. But something I can do, even with a 3-month-old who is currently taking a nap, God bless him, is practice a lot of fly casting. And the other thing I can do is probably film a bunch of fly rod reviews. So this is the coolest thing to me because they're not just rod reviews. Some of them are also going to be giveaways. That's right. I talked to the great people at TFO, Sage, Thomas Shank at Chippewa River Custom Rods, and the rods that we will be reviewing will be given away to one of you guys. It's going to be wicked cool. Now time out, not all the rod reviews are going to be giveaways. Some of this stuff like this Blue Halo, this is the Zen Glass S2 fiberglass blank 11 weight. This is a personal rod for me that I've purchased for myself. So some of them will just be rod reviews, but I need to give just a huge shout out to TFO. We have a 10 weight Blaine Chocolate Big Fly, which is an ESOX kind of big fly specialty big game rod. Amazing rod that we're going to be reviewing. Then we have the Sage 9-foot 3-inch payload. Truly awesome stick. Love the handle design on this thing. You can even double as a 2-hand rod. And then we also have the 9-foot 10 weight Predator rod from Mr. Thomas Shank at Chippewa River Custom Rods, and we have a 4-piece on deck, we have a 2-piece on deck, and we have a 1-piece. The 1-piece is mine. I've had it for about 2 years now, and so we'll be able to compare kind of the Predator blank across the 4, the 2, and the 1, which should be wicked cool. So those are the companies involved in the giveaway that need the hugest thanks, because I was basically like, I want to review your musky rods, but I don't have any money. Can you send me a rod? And I'm going to give it away, which means I really have no incentive to give you a raving review because I'm not going to keep the rod. These are unbiased reviews. I don't have any loyalty or connection with any of these companies. In fact, right now I'm a free agent, and my goal is to give you an unbiased review on some of the best musky sticks and big game sticks in the game. Now, understand, I reached out to a handful of companies. Not all of them said yes. That's totally okay. Like, no beef with them. I'm just some kid on YouTube, right? It's not a big deal. Likewise, if you make rods or you're part of a fly shop or whatever and you want to get a rod in my hands after you see 1 or 2 of the reviews and you're like, wow, he did a pretty good job. You know, send me a rod. I'll review it. We'll give it away. It'll be wicked cool. Some of these I'm probably going to like enough that I'm going to buy because I will want one. Because they're wicked cool. So that's what we got going on for the rod reviews, the giveaways. I'm not going to do like a first reaction type review. It might come across that way, but in truth, I'm going to spend a lot of time with these rods before we film anything. I've already cast all of them. I spent about an hour yesterday dinking around in the driveway. There's not going to be a bad review in the bunch. What is going to be really cool to compare is we do have different handle designs, different grip designs, different fighting butts. You know, this is like your typical saltwater fighting butt versus more of an ESOX 2-hand fighting butt. You can compare the different length of the handles, whereas this is almost gravitating towards a switch grip for 2-hand overhead casting, and it's a 9-foot 3-inch, which is very interesting. You know, the Blaine Chocolate rod's an extra fast taper. At first I was like, extra fast does not sound like something I would like for big flies. Completely blown away. Not what I expected at all. They did some really cool things with that blank. Some really cool things. And then you might be thinking like the Blue Halo fiberglass, which isn't a part of the giveaway, but it's personal. Like that's big, right? That's an 11 weight fiberglass rod, but the taper is out of this world. Like the power, the recovery, the swing weight, it's totally not what you'd expect for an 11 weight glass rod. So we have some really cool things. We're gonna go over the handles, the components, even things like the packaging, the rod tubes, the ability to carry it, shoulder it, bring it on a plane. You have all these different kind of things to consider. And like the big thing, like with the Thomas Shank rods, these are all single foot ceramic insert guides for all you guys who have a dedicated tungsten heavy sinking line rod. And the taper of these is completely different from the taper of these. and yet they are all very successful rods. So we're not going to be like going through and comparing, I like the payload more than the TFO, we're not going to be doing that. They're all good, and what's really cool is they're all good in their own way, and yet no two of them are the same. And so it'll be really cool because I want to put some time behind the rod so I know why I like it, I know what I don't like about it, and I can present that to you so that you guys have the information to make a very cool informed decision, and then one of you will walk away with the rod if you like and comment on that video. So it'll be a really cool thing to do. And then I want to talk about the fly casting challenge. This is something I'm going to try to do. I don't know how feasible it is, but I'm going to try to pump out one video a week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a casting video, some sort of technique video, something that I need to work on and practice. We're going to do dedicated practice time. It's going to be pretty cool. I'll break down the technique. I'll link the original video, the video author. I'll try to re-articulate the video in my own words, and then we're simply going to practice, and I would encourage you to follow along. You'll be 1 week behind me, and if you dedicate yourself to it and we literally do it together for the entire summer, it should hopefully transform your casting. So we're going to be looking at guys like Paul Arden, going to be looking at guys like Tom Bell, guys like Mark Sadati, and we're going to pick a video to highlight each week and practice the technique in that video each week. I'm going to be using 5 weights. I have a Blue Halo Retroflex 3. This replaced my grandpa's rod, which I unfortunately broke recently, and I could technically chop it down and fix it, but I really don't want to. This thing's amazing, really wicked cool. We have the Reddington Minnow, which is an 8-foot 5 weight. Probably the best streamer taper 5 weight I've ever cast in my life. This is a stiff-tipped mid-flex 8-footer. Truly amazing rod. I might review these ones too, just for fun. But those are the two we're going to use. So we have kind of a really perfect translation of power rod in the minnow, and then we have something really, really soft and fun and flexible. We're going to be fishing. I have the cheapest reels I could find from Fleet Farm, and these are both rigged up with some real double taper lines. A light line double taper and a 5 weight, technical trout double taper and a 5 weight, and then we have the Predator, which is a weight forward short head spay taper and a 5 weight. So we're going to be running some different lines, different head lengths, completely different taper designs to go over some casting techniques, and that'll be really, really cool to break down on those 5 weights, one thing. And we have the Echo Micro practice rod, which is a fiberglass rod, super short. You can see it has some yarn string. This is basically your front taper leader. This thing transformed my casting probably 3 years ago and really solved a lot of issues. And so what's really going to be cool is, like, we're going to film Monday. Everything's going to be practice rod. Why? So that I practice, right? I tend to take out a 5 weight because I tend to fish still waters and big rivers. I tend to focus on distance casting. So what do? I distance cast. Well, that's not necessarily the point of these videos. The point of these videos is to get wicked good at fly casting. So get a practice rod so that you practice. You want something that's going to force you to practice. Then we're going to apply that technique on a soft glass rod, which doesn't cast the same, it doesn't feel the same. You have to open up, elongate your stroke, smooth out your application of power, dampen the rod after you stop, but a lot of cool things that you do with glass that make you a better caster. Then we're gonna use more of a modern high-end graphite. I say high-end, it's just a nice rod. It's a $100 rod, but it's a really nice rod taper. And we'll use a graphite faster action. It is a mid-flex stiff tip, which I absolutely love. But I also have some other 5 weights that we might bring out, and I'll introduce them in those videos. So then we'll have more of a modern rod that will require different techniques. Little shorter, little punchier. You can really stop it. It'll have faster recovery. Some really cool things that are going to happen. And then we have them lined true to weight with those double tapers, those light lines. And then we also have what I would consider a modern streamer line, which feels completely different. Completely different. So we're kind of like training our brain and our hands to feel and adapt our cast immediately from a practice setup to a light line double taper setup to a soft fiberglass rod to a faster graphite rod and all these different tapers, and you have to adapt yourself to the situation to be able to perform the technique across all these different variables, because a good caster should be adaptable. You should be adaptable. You should be able to pick up any rod and immediately match your casting stroke your casting stroke length, your arc, the rotation, how fast you stop it, how smooth that application of power to fit whatever rod you're casting. You should be able to feel that and intuitively understand how to adapt to that rod. So that's something I'm trying to train my brain to be able to do. And so that's going to be the fly casting challenge. One video a week, focusing on one technique, running through 3 different rods each day of the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with a link to the original video so that you guys can see the original video, the original author, put everything into context, understand why we're trying to practice it. And then if you follow along with me, it should transform your casting, which will be really cool, because if you dedicate 1 year of your life to getting really good at something, you'll probably get really good at it, and then you'll benefit from being really good at it for the rest of your life. It's such a cool thing, right? Dedicate some time, get really good, and then enjoy fly fishing for the rest of your life with this really advanced skill set that allows you to get the most out of the sport that you are invested in. So that's what I have planned. I hope you are subscribed. I hope you'll follow along. You'll see the updates on Instagram and Facebook when I make posts and take pictures and do things like that. Again, huge shout out TFO, Sage, Thomas Shank. Really wicked cool thing for you guys to do, for me and for the community, to literally give a fly rod away. These are some pretty nice high-end fly rods, and I'm really grateful to work with those companies. So we are a free man. We are going to explore that freedom, cast a lot of different rods, learn a lot of different things, and share all of it with you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope to catch you this summer, because we're going to get really wicked good. That's the plan. See ya.